this video, we will explore 10 things you can do to calm your mind, all inspired by the teachings of Stoicism. Have you ever felt that your mind does not stop, that thoughts come and go like a storm that does not leave you in peace? You are not alone. We live in a time where everything around us seems to compete for our attention, filling us with external and internal noise. But what if I told you that there are ways to calm that storm? Imagine having a serene mind, capable of facing any challenge, without losing its cool. A mind that is not so brave in the face of problems, that does not drown in worries or fears. That is what the Stoics pursued. Live with virtue, balance, and a calm mind. First key, learn to observe your thoughts without judging them. This may sound simple, but it is a radical in how we handle our mind. Normally we live trapped in a constant internal dialogue, labeling each thought as good or bad, useful or useless, just or unjust. This constant judgment feeds the mental noise and takes us away from calm. This is where the Stoic practice of proce comes in, or mindfulness to oneself. Epictetus, a great Stoic philosopher, said, "It is not things that disturb us, but the opinions we have about them." And this also applies to our own thoughts. Is not the thought itself what affects us, but how we interpret it and react to it. So how does this work in practice? The next time you find yourself stuck in a negative or overwhelming thought, instead of fighting with it or trying to ignore it, just observe it. Realize that a thought is just that. A thought is not an absolute truth. It has no power over you unless that you give it to them. Imagine that your thoughts are like clouds in the sky. Some are dark and threatening, others are light and fleeting. You are the sky, and the thoughts just pass. You don't need to hold on to them or try to push them out. Just look at them and let them go. This practice has a transformative effect because it allows you to create a space between you and your thoughts. That space is freedom. That's where you can choose. No react impulsively. Do not get carried away by emotions that wear you down. That is where true calm begins. If you achieve this, you will notice that not only your mind calms down, but also your perspective changes. You will realize that many of your thoughts are not as important as they seemed at first, and most importantly, you will learn that you do not have to believe everything your mind tells you. Remember, the mind is not your enemy, simply needs direction. Observing your thoughts without judging them is the first step to regaining control and cultivating a serene. Second key, mind. Practice active gratitude every day. Let's be honest, it's easy to forget to be grateful when the mind is busy worrying about what's missing or what could go wrong. But the Stoics understood something powerful. Gratitude is an antidote to mental restlessness. When you sincerely thank what you already have, you move away from the constant "I want more" and from the "this is not enough" that they stir your mind. Seneca explained it very well by saying, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." And this is not just philosophical poetry, it is a practical tool that you can use to calm your mind. How to do it is not simply about saying thank you automatically. It is about stopping, reflecting, and really feeling it. Thinks on this at the end of the day. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. But here's the important thing. Don't pick the typical big answers like "my family" or "my house." Go for the little things, the details you often overlook. Maybe it was the taste of the coffee you had this morning, the greeting from someone that made you feel good, or just the fact that you breathed fresh air. When you make this intentionally changes something in your mind. You start to focus on what you have instead of what you lack. This not only reduces anxiety but also connects you with the present, and as we know from the Stoics, the present is the only moment in which we really live. You have realized that many times our mind is restless because it is trapped in the future or in the past. Active gratitude drags us back into the here and now and helps us appreciate life as it is, not as we wish it were. Try to do it for a week. Do it every night, before bed, or even during the day. Whenever you feel your mind start to fill up with unnecessary thoughts, you will be surprised at how calming this exercise is. Third key, practice the art of pause before reacting. It has happened to you that you say or do something in the heat of the moment and then you regret it. The mind, when it is in chaos, tends to react quickly many times without thinking, and this leads us to conflict, misunderstandings, and increase our stress. The Stoics taught that pause is a powerful tool to calm the mind and make better decisions. Marcus Aurelius expressed it wisely. You have power over your mind, not over the events. Realize this, and you'll find the strength. That strength is in stopping for a moment before responding, in taking a breath, literally or figuratively, to reflect how this applies in your day-to-day life. It's simple in theory, but it takes practice. The next time someone says something that upsets you, or you're faced with a stressful situation, instead of reacting automatically, pause, count to 3. Take a deep breath and ask yourself how I want to respond. This reaction will lead me to calm down or increase the problem. That pause, that brief, gives you control over your mind, allows you to act with intention instead of getting carried away by passing emotions, and best of all, significantly reduces mental noise. When you pause, you leave room for clarity, and that calms the storm of impulsive thoughts that often overwhelms us. This also applies to important decisions. Not everything requires an immediate response. If something generates doubt or anxiety, give yourself time to analyze it calmly. The Stoics valued prudence and knew that the best decisions are born from a serene mind. A trick you can use is the following. Whenever you feel like you are about to react impulsively, imagine that you are writing a letter to someone you love. You would use the same words or act in the same way in the same way. This mental exercise helps you to put things in perspective and choose a wiser and calmer response. Over time, this practice becomes a habit. You will notice how situations that used to make you nervous or make you lose control now affect you less. Not because the world has changed, but because you have changed the way you face it. Fourth key, simplify your life by eliminating the we live in a world that constantly pushes us to want more things, more activities, more achievements. But have you stopped to think that sometimes that more is what fills your mind with noise? The Stoics believed that simplicity is one of the keys to achieving inner peace. Seneca made it clear when he said, "Wealth does not consist in having large possessions, but in having few needs." External clutter doesn't become internal clutter. When you accumulate things that you don't need, commitments that don't fulfill you, or relationships that exhaust you, your mind becomes overloaded. Then how can we apply this Stoic wisdom in our modern life? Start by doing a cleansing, but not only physically, but also mentally and emotionally. Check out what things you have in your environment that don't really add value. Maybe it's that pile of objects that you never use, or that agenda full of commitments that you are not enthusiastic about. The process is liberating. Every time you eliminate something unnecessary, you free up space not only in your environment, but also in your mind. Fewer things, less worries, less commitments, more time for what really matters. But this key is not limited to the material, it also includes your thoughts. How many times do you fill your mind with worry that have no solution, or with useless comparisons? Simplicity too, it means focusing on the essentials, on what really matters for your well-being and peace of mind. To start, you can make a list of 3 areas of your life where you feel that there is excess: objects, activities, or thoughts. Then choose one thing from each category that you can simplify today. For example, donate clothes that you no longer wear, cancel a commitment that does not bring you anything, or decide to stop thinking about something that you cannot control. With each small step, you will begin to notice a difference. Your mind will have more room for calm, and you will live with a feeling of greater lightness. As the Stoics knew, true wealth is in being able to enjoy the present without unnecessary burdens. The 5th key, dedicate time to daily silence. We live in a noisy world from the moment we wake up until we go to bed. We are surrounded by notifications, conversations, music, television, and an endless list of distractions. The last time you experienced a moment of complete silence for the Stoics, silence was not only the absence of noise, but an essential tool for cultivating mental clarity. And the Mint often said, "I tell myself that it is not the noise that bothers me, but my inability to resist it." This reminds us that noise is not always external. Many times the loudest noise is in our mind, with thoughts that don't stop crashing against each other. Why silence is so powerful? Because it gives us space to observe what is really happening within us. In silence, we can reflect without interruptions, we can listen to our inner voice, and most importantly, we can calm the constant murmuring of the mind. So how can you integrate this practice into your life? You don't need to isolate yourself in a cabin in the mountains, although it would be amazing. Just spend a few minutes a day being quiet with yourself. Find a quiet place, turn off the phone, close your eyes, and you want it, and just sit down. You don't have to meditate or follow any complicated techniques alone. Let the silence envelop you. In those moments, thoughts may arise, and it's okay. Let them come and go like waves. And the important thing is not to cling to them. This space of silence not only helps you calm the mind, but also teaches you to be present, something that the Stoics deeply valued. Over time you will notice that these moments of silence become a refuge, a place where you can return to yourself, to your essence, without the distractions of the outside world. And best of all, this habit has a cumulative effect. The more you practice silence, the more tranquility you carry with you throughout the day. You imagine how transformative it would be for your life to dedicate a few minutes to silence every day. Try it, and you will see how your mind begins to find a peace that once seemed unattainable. Sixth key: connect with nature regularly. There is something deeply restorative about going outdoors. Feel the sun on your skin. Listen to the singing of the birds, or simply observe how the leaves of a tree move with the wind. The Stoics, although they lived centuries ago, they perfectly understood the power of nature to calm and rebalance the mind. Marcus Aurelius expressed it beautifully in his meditations. Look at the depth of nature, and then you will understand everything better. For him, nature was not only a stage for life, but a teacher, a source of inspiration and clarity when you're stuck in the chaos of everyday life. Nature acts as a reminder of what really matters. Think about this. What trouble can be so big when you're staring at a starry sky that seems endless? What anxiety can linger when you hear the soothing sound of the waves or the crunch of grass beneath your feet? You don't need to climb mountains or take an epic journey to connect with nature. You can be as simple as taking a walk in a nearby park, sitting on a bench at sunset, or even taking care of a plant in your home. The important thing is to allow yourself a moment to disconnect from the fast pace of modern life and reconnect with something bigger than yourself, because this calms the mind. Because nature has a different rhythm than ours. It is constant, patient, and works without worrying about deadlines or expectations. When you allow yourself to align with that rhythm, your mind slows down, your thoughts calm down, and you feel a deeper connection to the present. In addition, being in contact with nature not only reduces mental stress, but also has physical benefits. Improves sleep quality, lowers blood pressure, and increases feelings of overall well-being. It's like a complete reset for your body and mind. A favor: find a time in your day or week to go out and just be in nature. Don't see it as just another chore, but as a gift you give yourself. Observe, breathe, feel, let nature work its magic in your mind. Seventh key: learn to say no without guilt. This is a complicated topic, right? Saying can't be difficult, because we don't want to disappoint others, seem selfish, or generate conflict. But what we often do not understand is that every time we say yes to something we do not want or cannot do, we are saying no to our peace of mind. The Stoics deeply valued clarity of purpose and understood that you cannot do everything or be for everyone. As Seneca said, if you do not know which port you are heading to, no wind is favorable. This means that if you are not clear what's important to you, you'll end up being swept away by the desires, expectations, and demands of others. Think about all the times you accepted something just out of commitment or out of fear of displeasing someone, how you felt afterward, probably exhausted, resentful, or overwhelmed. This not only affects your energy, but also overloads your mind with worries and tasks that shouldn't be there. Learning to say no, it's not being selfish. It's being wise, is acknowledging that your resources, time, energy, attention, are limited and that you need to protect them for the things that really matter. Saying no also allows you to act with more intention and purpose, something that the Stoics deeply valued. How you can do it without feeling guilty. First, understand that an honest no is better than a resentful yes. When you say no with respect and clarity, you are respecting both your boundaries and the other person. For example, instead of making excuses, you can simply say, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I can't commit at this time." Also remember that every time you say no to something that doesn't bring you, you are saying yes to your well-being. That space you create by refusing unnecessary commitments gives your mind a break and allows you to focus on what really matters to you. Do the exercise, review your upcoming commitments or pending, and ask yourself honestly, do I really want or need to do this? If the answer is no, look for the kindest and firmest way to decline. At first, it can be uncomfortable, but over time you will realize how much it relieves your mental and emotional burden. Eighth key: live in the present moment. This may seem the most obvious key, but it is certainly one of the most difficult to practice. Our mind has the habit of wandering us, drag us to the past with regrets and memories, or push us into the future with worries and plans. The result: we miss the only thing we really have, the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, the great Stoic philosopher, left us this jewel of wisdom. Don't let the future disturb you. You will meet it if you have to, with the same weapons of reason that today protect you against the present. Its message is clear. Live in the present is not only an act of serenity, but also of confidence in your ability to face whatever comes your way. So how do we bring our mind back to the here and now? A simple way is through mindfulness. You don't need complicated practices. Just pay attention to what you are doing right now. If you are eating, taste the food. If you are walking, feel your steps. If you are talking to someone, listen to them. Really, another powerful way is to focus on your breath. The breath is like an anchor that always brings you back to the present. Take a few seconds. Close your eyes if you can and deeply. Then exhale slowly. Do this several times and you will notice how your mind begins to calm down. Living in the present moment does not mean ignoring the past or the future. It means stopping carrying what has already happened and not anticipating what you have done. It hasn't come yet. It's an act of trust in life and in yourself. When you achieve this, you reduce the mental noise and begin to experience a sense of peace that comes from simply being. Imagine how much lighter your mind would be. If you could let go of the weight of what isn't right now, you realize how much time and energy you spend on things that are out of your immediate control at the moment. Focus on the present. Not only do you calm your mind, but you also enjoy life more as it is. Try it for a day. Every time you realize that your mind is wandering to the past or the future, tell yourself to return to the present. Little by little, this practice will become a habit and you will begin to notice how your mind becomes calmer and more focused. Key: get regular physical exercise. It's common to think that calming the mind is just about what we do with our thoughts, but there's something very important that we often overlook: our body. The Stoics understood that body and mind are deeply connected. The energy that the body accumulates, or the lack of it, directly affects how our mind feels. That's why one of the best ways to calm the mind is taking care of our body through physical exercise. Seneca said it this way: exercise is the pleasure of strength. For him, exercise not only strengthened the body, but also freed the mind, and exercise has the power to reduce stress, increase mental clarity, and improve our mood. When we sweat, the body releases endorphins, those chemicals that make us feel good and that give us a sense of immediate well-being. Now, this does not mean that you should start training like an Olympic athlete, but that the goal is to incorporate some regular movement into your life. It does not matter if it is walking, running, doing yoga, swimming, or even dancing. The important thing is that you get moving and that you find something that you enjoy. You do not need large sessions or complicated workouts. Simply give your body what you need to release tension. The key is consistency. Start with something simple: a daily walk of 20 minutes, a stretching session when you wake up, or a light routine that allows you to start the day with more energy. If you are consistent, you will notice how your mind becomes clearer and your ability to concentrate improves. In addition, exercise also helps you to have a better sleep, another key factor for a calm mind. Think about physical exercise as a reset for your mind. When you move, you stop being trapped in your thoughts and instead you concentrate on what your body needs. This focus on the physical takes you out of your mind and takes you to the present, right where your attention should be. Do the exercise of integrating movement into your daily routine. Even if it is a small change, you will see how your energy improves, your mood, and of course the calm of your mind. 10th key: cultivate meaningful relationships and surround yourself with people who bring peace to our mind. Is deeply influenced by the people around us. Think about how many times have you felt stress, confusion, or sadness as a result of conflict or toxic relationships. The Stoics knew that human connections are essential, but they also understood that not all relationships contribute to well-being. Epictetus: so avoid relating to those who drive you to despair or make you lose control over yourself. This does not mean moving away from everyone or live in isolation, but surround yourself with people who push you to be better, who bring you calm and wisdom instead of drama and chaos. But how do you put this into practice? First, evaluate the relationships in your life. Ask yourself, this person inspires me, supports me, motivates me. If the answer is yes, it is someone worth building a deeper connection with. On the other hand, if there are people who constantly generate conflict, emotional exhaustion, or mental noise, it may be time to set healthy boundaries. Remember that meaningful relationships are not only those with whom you share joys, but also those in which you can be vulnerable and have someone to talk to honestly. Someone who listens to you without judging you can be one of the most healing experiences for the mind. This also means that you must be that person for others. Cultivate meaningful relationships. Not it's just about receiving, but about actively listening, offering support, and being a safe space for those who trust you. This type of exchange not only strengthens your relationships, but also fills your mind with positive thoughts and gratitude. Plus, it's not about having many relationships, but about quality. The Stoics value depth over quantity. A good conversation with a close friend can be much more meaningful than an endless superficial interactions. If you start to surround yourself with people who inspire you with peace and clarity, you will notice a change in your own mind. Your environment influences more than you think, and when you consciously choose who you share your time with, you are choosing to take care of yourself.